Just a brief reminder here, because we've covered a lot of ground. Klipoth, or same also Quillpoth, Kilophoth, Clipot, or Kelipot, the word of shells, meaning peel, rind, skin, cortex, crust, hull, or husk. It refers to the inferior worlds, inferno, hell, or abyss. The Clipoth is so named because the souls who descend into the inferior worlds descend without the connection of their inner divinity. Therefore, they are empty shells, no souls. They're empty shells of souls. Adam was drawn downward after the serpent. He went down to learn of all that is below, meaning that he went down to draw the light of Chokmah to the lower Malchut that is missing like the serpent. So again, you see this process. We're going to descend to the lower levels to free the light from this demonic area that it's trapped in. As he went down for the purpose of drawing light from above to below, his desires and his ways were drawn down after the Klipot. This drawing downward the light of union is the secret of prohibition of the tree of knowledge. Since he intended to draw the light downward, he cleaved immediately to the Klipot, even though he had not actually drawn any light. They went down to the serpent. He saw the desire of the world, and his ways were swayed to this place of Mount Chut, which is the secret of eating of the tree of knowledge, etc., etc. So this light descended down, and it bound to the Klipot. And we see Kelipot and Sitra Akra, and so it's describing this philosophical concept. And they say Hasidism emphasizes the view that the ultimate purpose of creation is to create a dwelling for God in the world. So they're going to create this perfect location, this perfect spot for God to be. Kabbalah uses the term Kelipa to describe evil. Literally, Kelipa means a peel, shell, as in a peel of fruit. So here we just saw Klipoth, but that's spelled multiple different ways, but it's not the same thing as Kelipa. So just to make this explicitly clear, an orange will not retain its juice. It has a protective jacket. Same is true for the existence of evil. Hasidism uses the terminology inner will and external will. When a person goes out to work, he gets involved with all the details of making a living. However, he is engaged only with his external will, his internal desires to make money. The Kelipa stems from the outer will of God, whereas Kadusha, holiness, stems from the inner will of God. So Kelipa is bad, Kadusha is good. Kabbalah divides everything into the world of either Kadusha, the side of holiness, or Sitra Akra, the side of impurity, meaning the other side or the side of Kelipa, which is bad. There is nothing in between, so it's either Kadusha or Kelipa. The holy side is the indwelling extension of God that rests only on something that abnegates itself completely to him. That is what is meant when the sages proclaim that when a single individual sits and learns Torah, the Shekinah rests on him. So remember, we've been talking about trying to restore the Shekinah to God and this feminine principle. It further delineates two distinct types of Kelipa. Kelipat Noga, literally Kelipa that can be illuminated, so this kind of Kelipa can be redeemed. And Shalosh Kelipot, three totally impure Kelipot. Kelipat Noga can be uplifted and refined, while the only form of reformation or redemption from the three impure Kelipot is their destruction. That's it. So Kelipot, shells, rinds, etc., spelled all these different ways, empty shells. There's an evil form that can be redeemed, Kelipa, but Kelipot cannot be redeemed. What's the only way to redeem Kelipot? It's total destruction. Now let's look at what Isaac Luria says Kelipot is. And now we come to where this matters for Gentiles. So we've talked about the Sephirotic tree and the lights emanating supposedly from Ein Sof, and they went into the vessels and the vessels shattered, and that caused sparks to descend down into the lower realms and animated the demonic spheres. And we've already seen in Lurianic cosmology this process of tikkun, which involves returning these sparks, right? That's what needs to happen in order to bring about the saving of the world, right? And that's carried out by doing the mitzvot and having Jews adhere to the Torah, which we've already seen is completely redefined under Kabbalistic principles. And the non-Jews need to be under Noahide laws, right? But we've also seen that there's times where you need to cross over to the other side. You have to cross over and get to the potential demonic spheres in order to liberate some of those sparks. And sometimes that's necessary. And we also have to cancel or negate or destroy some of those things in order to liberate the sparks. Where do Gentiles fit into all this stuff? Because as we've seen, there's shells covering these sparks. There's shells that are housing these sparks that have to be eliminated. What are these shells? Well, I'm glad you asked. And what do we see with Luria? This is Berkeley Center for Religion and Peace World Affairs. On the souls of Gentiles. Israel possesses the 3 levels of soul, nefesh, ruach, and neshama from holiness. The Gentiles, however, possess only the level of nefesh from the feminine side of the shells, for the souls of the nations, which come from the klipat, shells, are called evil and not good, since they are created without knowledge. The animal soul of man is the good and evil inclination. The soul of Gentiles comes from the 3 shells, wind, cloud, and fire, all of them evil. So is the case with impure animals, beasts, and birds. However, the animal soul of Israel and the animal soul of pure animal, beasts, and birds all come from Klapat, or Noga. What did we see here? He says the exact same thing that Schneerson said, that Gentiles come from 3 demonic shells. He calls them evil. This is Luria. This is the most important modern Kabbalist here. And what did Schneerson say, the guy who's in charge of the tunnel diggers until he died? What is the purpose of Kabbalah? It comes from the shells. It comes from the Klipat shells. So how are they going to liberate the sparks trapped in the shells that we already talked about? The shells have to be destroyed, and the shells are the Gentiles. The Klipat, Gentile souls. First article, what did it say? Can't be redeemed. Kalipa can be redeemed. A Jew that's misbehaving can be redeemed. But Gentile souls come from the demonic spheres. Gentile souls are Klipat. And the only way that they can be, the sparks inside of them can be liberated, is if they're destroyed. So what is the core message of Kabbalah? Among many other things, the mitzvot, the core message of Kabbalah is, through the process of tikkun, we are going to save the world. And that process involves liberating the sparks, and the only way to liberate the sparks from Gentiles is by destroying them. That's it. So Noahide laws are not going to save you, Gentiles. Abiding by the Noahide laws are not going to save you. And in fact, if you look at the messaging that the secular Jews push with the power that they have, you can look at, again, I have a lecture on finance and Hollywood. They promote all manner of degeneracy that would promote Gentiles not abiding by the Noahide laws. This idea that, well, if you're just a Noahide, you're going to be, nope. The only way is for them to be destroyed. It's the only way. So what is the core message of Kabbalah? How are they going to save the world? By destroying the Gentiles. That's Isaac Luria's message to the Jewish people. Save the world, kill the Gentiles. By whatever means necessary. Whether that's by weapons of mass migration, whether that's by promoting interracial relationships, whether that's by having them injected with stuff that makes them sterile or have chronic health conditions, whether that's by promoting degeneracy that breaks up the family, any means necessary to save the world.